You swore this time would be different. This person seemed nothing like the last one who broke your heart. They looked different, talked differently, came from a different background. You were certain you'd learned your lesson, that you'd chosen better this time, that you'd finally broken the pattern. But 6 months in, or a year, or 2 years, there it is again. That same dynamic you promised yourself you'd never accept again. The same emotional unavailability, the same narcissistic behavior, the same manipulation, the same painful ending. Different face, same story. And you're left wondering, how does this keep happening? What's wrong with me? Am I cursed to repeat this forever? Carl Jung spent decades studying why intelligent, self-aware people keep attracting the exact same type of partner despite consciously wanting something different. And what he discovered should fundamentally change how you understand attraction, love, and why your relationships keep following the same script. The answer is not that you have bad taste or that you are attracted to red flags. The truth is far more complex and far more unconscious than that. Jung discovered that when you're intensely attracted to someone, when you feel that inexplicable pull, that sense of this is it, you're not actually responding to who they truly are. You're responding to something you're projecting onto them from your own unconscious, an image Jung called the anima or animus. As Jung wrote, every man carries within him the eternal image of woman, not the image of this or that particular woman, but a definite feminine image. And every woman carries within her the eternal image of man. This image lives in your unconscious. You didn't create it consciously. It was formed through your earliest relationships, primarily with your opposite-sex parent, and it's been shaped by every significant relationship experience you've had since. This anima or animus isn't just a vague preference or type. It's a living psychological force in your unconscious that controls who you're attracted to and how you experience them. And here's the crucial part that explains why you keep repeating the same relationship. Your unconscious doesn't choose partners based on who will make you happy. It chooses partners based on who matches the unconscious image, even if that image was formed in dysfunction, even if it's based on unmet childhood needs, even if it guarantees pain. Let me explain how this works in practice, because once you see it, you'll recognize it everywhere. Imagine a woman who grew up with an emotionally distant father. He was physically present, but emotionally absent. Always working, never available for real connection, impossible to reach emotionally. As a child, she desperately wanted his attention, his love, his approval. But no matter what she did, she couldn't break through his emotional walls. That experience didn't just create a childhood memory, it created her animus, her unconscious image of masculine energy. And that image contains a specific signature: emotional unavailability. Her unconscious learned that masculine love means being pursued but never caught, being desired but never fully available, being present but never truly there. Now she's an adult woman in the dating world. Consciously, she wants a partner who is emotionally available, communicative, and present. But unconsciously, her animus is scanning for someone who matches the familiar pattern. She goes on dates with available, emotionally healthy men and feels nothing. Nice guys bore her. Men who are actually capable of intimacy don't create that electric attraction. But then she meets him, the emotionally distant one, the one who's complicated, the one who's not ready for a relationship, or just got out of something, or focused on his career. And something in her unconscious recognizes him. This is it, her psyche says. This is what love feels like. Not because he's actually right for her, but because he matches the animus image. He feels familiar. He feels like home, even though home was painful. She doesn't consciously realize she's attracted to his unavailability. She tells herself she's attracted to his intelligence, his ambition, his mystery, his depth. She convinces herself that this time will be different because this man has different qualities than the last unavailable man. But at the unconscious level, she's attracted to the exact same dynamic, different face, same animus projection, and then the relationship unfolds exactly as it must. She pursues emotional connection, and he withdraws. She tries to break through his walls, just like she tried with her father. She believes if she's just good enough, patient enough, loving enough, she can make him change, just like she believed as a child. And when it inevitably ends in the same pain, she's devastated. But her unconscious learned nothing. Because the unconscious doesn't learn from pain, it only knows repetition. The same pattern operates for men with their anima projections. Consider a man who grew up with a mother who was unpredictable, sometimes loving, sometimes cold, sometimes nurturing, sometimes critical. He never knew which version of her he'd get. As a child, he learned that feminine love means uncertainty, that connection requires constant vigilance, that he must always be working to maintain approval. This becomes his anima image. Love as uncertainty, love as drama, love as never quite knowing where you stand. And as an adult, he finds himself repeatedly attracted to women who are emotionally unpredictable. The stable, secure women don't interest him. They feel flat, boring, like something's missing. But the dramatic one, the one whose moods shift, the one who's sometimes warm and sometimes cold, she creates that electric charge. She feels right, not because she is right, but because she matches the anima image formed in his childhood. He doesn't consciously realize he's attracted to instability. He tells himself he's drawn to her passion, her intensity, her complexity. He believes each new dramatic woman is unique, but at the unconscious level, he's projecting the same anima over and over. Different face, same dynamic, and he'll keep repeating it until he becomes conscious of what he's doing. Jung observed this pattern constantly in his patients, and he identified it as one of the primary sources of relationship suffering. As he stated, projection of the anima or animus onto the partner is dangerous because one then tries to force the partner to act in a certain way, which has nothing to do with his or her real personality. You're not relating to the real person, you're relating to your projection. You're trying to have a relationship with an image from your unconscious that you've superimposed onto someone else. And when they inevitably fail to conform to this image, when they reveal themselves to be a real, complex, flawed human being, rather than the idealized or wounded figure you've projected, you experience it as betrayal, as them changing, as them not being who you thought they were. But here's the truth. Jung would tell you, they never were who you thought they were. You never actually saw them. You saw your anima or animus wearing their face. And this is why the relationship was doomed from the start. Not because they're bad or you are bad, but because the relationship was built on projection rather than reality. This is also why you keep attracting the same person. It's not that all emotionally unavailable men are identical or that all narcissistic women are the same. It's that your unconscious is using the same filter to scan potential partners. You're literally blind to people who don't match your animus image, and you're magnetically drawn to people who do, regardless of whether that image is healthy or dysfunctional. Jung discovered that this pattern has a specific signature that makes it recognizable. Intense, immediate attraction. When you meet someone and feel instant chemistry, when you just know they're special, when you feel you've known them forever, that's almost always animus projection. Real, healthy attraction based on seeing an actual person tends to build more gradually as you get to know them. But projection creates instant intensity because you're not getting to know them. You're recognizing an unconscious image. This is why love at first sight so often leads to disaster. You haven't fallen in love with a person, you've fallen in love with your own projection. You're essentially in love with an image from your unconscious that you've mistaken for the human being standing in front of you. And when the projection inevitably fades, when you finally see the real person, you feel betrayed. But the betrayal was yours. You betrayed yourself by relating to a fantasy rather than reality. So how do you break this pattern? How do you stop attracting the same toxic person with a different face? Jung's answer is both simple and incredibly difficult. You must withdraw your projections and integrate what they reveal about your unconscious. This process begins with recognition. You must become conscious of your anima or animus image. Ask yourself, what are the common themes in my past relationships? Not surface details like physical appearance or career, but deeper patterns. Are you always attracted to people who need saving, people who are emotionally unavailable, people who are grandiose, people who are victims, people who are critical, people who are chaotic? Whatever the pattern is, that's revealing your anima, animus. And here's what's crucial to understand. The pattern isn't random. It's connected to your earliest relationships, especially with your opposite-sex parent. The qualities you consistently project onto partners, availability or unavailability, stability or chaos, nurturing or criticism, these were likely qualities you experienced or desperately wanted but didn't receive from that primary parent. The woman who keeps choosing emotionally unavailable men is unconsciously trying to resolve her relationship with her distant father. The man who keeps choosing dramatic, unstable women is unconsciously trying to manage his relationship with his unpredictable mother. Not consciously. These aren't calculated choices. But the unconscious is relentlessly trying to recreate and resolve the original wound through new relationships. Jung called this repetition compulsion, the unconscious drive to repeat unresolved psychological patterns in hopes of finally resolving them. As one Jungian analyst explains, the process repeats over and over with frustration and disappointment as a sign of the repetition compulsion that is meant to get us to wake up. Your unconscious keeps presenting you with the same relationship because it's desperately trying to show you something you need to see. But here's the trap. You can't resolve the pattern by finding the right partner who finally fulfills the projection. You can't heal your father wound by finding an unavailable man who finally chooses you. You can't resolve your mother wound by finding a dramatic woman who finally stabilizes for you. The resolution comes not through finding the perfect projection carrier, but through withdrawing the projection entirely and doing the inner work of integration. This means turning inward and asking, what does my pattern of attraction reveal about me? What quality am I seeking in others that I need to develop in myself? What childhood wound am I trying to heal through adult relationships? These are uncomfortable questions because they require taking responsibility for your patterns rather than blaming your exes or bad luck in love. But as you do this work, as you become conscious of your anima, animus image and the wounds it's connected to, something remarkable happens. Your attraction patterns begin to shift, not through effort or willpower, but organically. As you integrate the projected qualities, as you develop your own inner masculine or feminine energy, you stop needing to find it in others. And paradoxically, this is when you become capable of genuine attraction to healthy partners. As Jung stated, the integration of the anima is the opus magnum of inner alchemy. This is the masterpiece, the great work. It's not easy. It requires looking at painful childhood experiences. It means acknowledging how your earliest relationships shaped your unconscious templates for love. It demands that you stop blaming your exes and start recognizing your own role in recreating the pattern. But the rewards are profound. When you've done this inner work, when you've integrated your anima or animus, you become capable of what Jungian analyst James Hollis calls loving a human being, not our dream, but a human being with flaws. You stop needing your partner to fulfill an unconscious image and start being able to see and love them for who they actually are. This doesn't mean all attraction disappears or that relationships become purely practical. It means your attraction shifts from projection-based to reality-based. You're no longer drawn to people because they match an unconscious wound. You're attracted to people because of who they actually are, their qualities, their character, their compatibility with your authentic self. And here's what's truly transformative. When you stop projecting your anima or animus, toxic people stop being attractive to you. The emotionally unavailable person no longer creates that electric charge. They just seem emotionally unavailable, which isn't appealing. The narcissist no longer seems intriguing. They just seem self-absorbed, which is a turn-off. The dramatic person no longer feels exciting. They just seem exhausting. You've essentially reprogrammed your unconscious attraction system by making it conscious. And this is permanent change, not temporary willpower. You're not forcing yourself to date people you're not attracted to. You're actually attracted to different people because you've changed at the unconscious level. This is why Jung insisted that the work of anima-animus integration is essential for anyone who wants healthy relationships. As long as you're operating from unconscious projection, you're guaranteed to repeat the same patterns. But when you've done the work of making the unconscious conscious, of integrating the projected qualities, of healing the original wounds, that's when you become free to choose consciously rather than being driven unconsciously. One crucial aspect of this work that Jung emphasized: you must be willing to be alone during the integration process. Many people jump from one relationship directly into the next, never giving themselves time to process, to grieve, to learn. But anima-animus integration requires solitude. You need time without a projection carrier to look inward, to see your own patterns, to do the inner work. This is why the time between relationships is often the most valuable time for your psychological growth. It's when you can examine your patterns without the distraction of a new person. It's when you can feel the emptiness that you've been filling with relationships and learn to fill it internally instead. It's when you can develop your own inner masculine or feminine qualities rather than seeking them externally. But most people are terrified of this aloneness. They immediately seek a new relationship to avoid feeling the pain, the emptiness, the original wound that the previous relationship was covering. And in doing so, they guarantee they'll repeat the pattern, because they never gave themselves time to become conscious of what they're projecting. If you've recognized yourself in this exploration, if you've seen how you've been projecting the same anima or animus image onto different partners, if you understand now why you keep attracting the same toxic person with a different face, then you're ready to break the pattern. But breaking it requires commitment to the inner work, not just understanding the concept intellectually. The work includes spending time alone to examine your patterns, exploring your relationships with your parents, especially the opposite sex parent, identifying the qualities you consistently project onto partners, asking what these qualities reveal about your own undeveloped inner masculine or feminine, working to integrate these qualities internally rather than seeking them externally. Allowing yourself to feel the original childhood wounds rather than covering them with adult relationships, and learning to recognize projection when it's happening so you can pause rather than immediately pursuing the attraction. This is deep, difficult, transformative work. But it's the only path to breaking the pattern. You can't think your way out of unconscious projection. You can't willpower your way into different attraction patterns. You can only bring the unconscious into consciousness, integrate what it reveals, and allow your authentic self to emerge from beneath the projections. Jung believed this work was not just personally important, but collectively essential. When people stop projecting their anima, animus onto partners, When they take responsibility for their own inner masculine and feminine development, relationships transform from unconscious need-based dynamics to conscious choice-based connections. This is what creates the possibility for genuine love, not the intoxication of projection, but the steady commitment to seeing and being seen. If you're ready to stop repeating, if you're exhausted from attracting the same person over and over, if you finally want to break free from unconscious patterns and create conscious relationships, write in the comments, "I withdraw my projections," and commit to the inner work Jung described. Share this with someone trapped in repetitive relationship patterns. Your liberation from the pattern begins when you stop looking for the right person and start becoming the integrated person. Then, the right relationships find you naturally.